Hi, I'm Shannon Cyr, and I am the relationship coach for men. Today, we are going to talk about unconditional love. I want to address what it is and what it isn't, simply because it's one of those things that we really hear a lot about. And I've had a bunch of clients ask me about it and really kind of question, is there such a thing as unconditional love? And it's usually, a pretty lively conversation when it comes up. And so my answer to that question is yes, you can love unconditionally. But that doesn't mean that there are unconditional consequences. So we can practice unconditional love, or at least we think we can really well with our kids, because there's really nothing that they could do that would make us not love them in the moment, but practicing unconditional love with our closest, most intimate partner or our spouse, it's not as easy. It's a whole other ball game. So here's kind of what usually happens. It looks like when you're kind and loving towards me, then I will be kind and loving towards you. And when you aren't kind and loving towards me, then I'm not going to be kind and loving towards you. I'm gonna kind of take that loving, good feeling light away from you. So that's not unconditional. That's a condition. When you show me love, I'll show it to you in return, right? Now you may be thinking that's really not a problem, but if we only show love in return, then that requires that the other person really be steady enough to always be showing us love. And well, we kind of know how that goes, right? So now it's incredibly hard to be loving towards someone who isn't being loving towards us. It definitely isn't easy, but the truth is that you absolutely can do it. You can absolutely be loving towards someone who isn't loving towards you, because you can make that choice. After all, it really is just a choice. You can decide to be loving because loving just feels better than being hateful towards someone, even if they're being hateful towards us. Maybe you even feel totally justified and have judgment and think you're right, and that judgment and that hatefulness, they still aren't going to feel good. So you actually can choose. Now, loving unconditionally doesn't mean, eating shit with a spoon or overlooking bad behavior, allowing somebody to overstep boundaries or be disrespectful to you. It doesn't mean that when someone's yelling at you or doing something that isn't okay, that you just accept it. That's not at all what unconditional love looks like. You can love unconditionally, but that doesn't mean that there aren't circumstances in response to other people's choices. So if we kind of follow the idea that, every adult gets to do whatever they want to do, which they do, then the other truth about that is that every person also gets to live with the outcome of their choices. So they get to live with the circumstances that are a result of the choices they made. So it doesn't mean that you have to remain in a relationship or overlook decades of hurtful behavior and try to convince yourself that it's okay and that you're just loving that person unconditionally, because that's not okay. That isn't honoring you, and that isn't going to feel good. So sometimes to love someone unconditionally, you have to set new boundaries. And sometimes those boundaries might be a little bit further away than what that other person might like. And usually this is a result of the choices and decisions that they've made and the actions that they have taken in terms of being in relationship with you. So really, unconditional love has to begin with you. It has to be done with you first. And then you can share it with somebody else. So you can practice it. You can still choose to love someone and set new boundaries. You can choose to love with someone and not be in relationship with them anymore. You can absolutely do that for yourself. So loving unconditionally is definitely one of the hardest things we will ever do. And we will be challenged with it every day, pretty much, as long as we are in relationship with other people. But unconditional love is not the same as unconditional circumstances. I hope this was helpful for you and that it gave you something else to think about in terms of how you can show up differently inside of your most intimate relationship. If you like what you heard, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel to be notified when I publish a new video. If you would like to explore working with me directly as a private client, there's a link in the notes field under this video to take you to the application. All my best.